Hey guys, welcome back. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate you sticking around and watching my YouTube channel. 2 weeks ago, I accepted a job in Vietnam. This is a job at an international school, and as part of that video, I promised you guys I would tell you how I got the job and how you can get a job too if you're interested. So in this video, I'm going to go over the qualifications that you might need to get an international school teaching job, the types of international schools that are out there for you to choose from, some of the search and recruiting agencies that are really reputable that you could use, and kind of a timeline to walk you through what you would need to do and when you need to do it in order to get a good international school teaching job. Okay, so let's get started. Most international schools, they require a pretty standard set of minimum requirements. Of course, if you meet these or exceed these, you're going to have a better chance of getting a good job at a better school. But the minimums are a teaching certificate from one of the English-speaking countries. So that would be the United States, United Kingdom, Ireland, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, and South Africa. That's the first qualification. Now, if you're a secondary school teacher, there are certain countries, Turkey is one of them, that have higher expectations for you. For example, in the teaching world, you know that you can get an endorsement in addition to your original certification area in secondary. That you won't cut it in some countries like Turkey. You actually need a full bachelor's degree or a bachelor's degree equivalent, something like 30 credit hours in that subject area in order to teach that area. Also, some countries will have a national visa process that requires you to have more than 2 years. I think of Indonesia, for example, they require that you have 5 years full teaching experience in order to get a visa to work in the country, and the schools will follow that too. Also, you need to be able to pass a criminal background check. Depending on what country you're going to, that could be a national background check, like the FBI, or one from your particular region, province, or state. Of course, a lot of schools are going to look more favorably on you if you have a master's degree or more than 2 years experience or have participated in different extracurricular activities or sponsored different things. Of course, as you have higher qualifications, you're going to be able to land a better school and you're going to be able to get a job easier. But these are kind of the minimums. Now, there are many different types of international schools. As you go through this process, kind of the fun thing is all this research that goes into determining what type of school you want to teach at, what level you want to go through. There's even an unofficial tier system that you'll find people arguing about online. Top tier schools or tier 1 schools. Then there's tier 2 schools, which are kind of almost as good but not quite, and then tier 3 schools, which are kind of starter schools or ones that you would start at the very beginning of your career. I kind of throw it out because I know that there are certain schools that I would not want to teach at, even though they're considered the best in the world. You have to figure out what your strengths are and match them with the type of school. So at a risk of oversimplifying the system, I've kind of categorized all the different schools into 3 different categories. So the first type of school is the nonprofit school. These are generally considered some of the best schools out there. Examples of these would be your embassy schools, schools that are contracted with the U.S. Embassy or other countries' embassy to give education to local diplomats' children or people from the community, etc. There are also different board-run schools. So maybe the parents in the area have decided to start a school and they run the board. Maybe a group of local educators have decided to run the board, or even a group of community leaders in the area. There's also situations where for-profit companies will start a nonprofit school because they value education in the area or they want to increase the quality of the local workforce. These nonprofit schools are generally going to have a lot more transparency, and you're going to be able to know right up front what you're getting into. So the second group of schools are private and for-profit. There are lots of different organizations around the world that have created groups of schools. You might hear names as GYMS, Cognita, ESOL, Quality International, Talim, ACS International Schools, Yucheng. These are all corporations that have decided to make some money from these schools. It's a big business. They're generally well-funded. The buildings are very nice. They're trying to attract, the best and the brightest students as well as teachers. But you have to know that you're going into a for-profit situation. They care a lot about money, and if it comes down to money versus education, they may choose the financial benefit over the quality education. The third type of school is the national school. These are schools that are owned or run by the local government in some way. There are school districts that will have one international school among the entire school district of the area. There are schools that have one international department. So maybe you would be teaching English, math, and science in one wing of a larger high school building. Also, sometimes governments will set up their own schools across the country. In the United Arab Emirates, for example, you have an alphabet soup of these type of schools. You have IAT, the Institute of Applied Technology, ADEC, the Abu Dhabi Education Council, ADVETI, ACTVET. They have their own school system, and they want to recruit English-speaking teachers as they transform their entire education system over to an English-speaking education system. Of course, as you're going through this, you want to look at your qualifications, see where you kind of land. If you're someone that has a lot of experience and a master's degree and perhaps even international teaching experience, you might be able to shoot a little bit higher. But if you're someone who's meeting just the minimum requirements, 2 years experience and bachelor's degree and teaching certificate without any international school experience or without extracurricular things to boost your resume, perhaps you're just going to look at a school that you can handle for 2 years, make a meaningful impact, use to pad your resume for the next shot, but you might not be looking at your first choice school, first choice location, first choice country. In the next video, we're going to talk about the job search system, and that includes a little bit about the timeline. Thanks for watching. Hope you watch the next video, and subscribe below if you would like to be in line for more videos in the future.